All right, and we're back here on Couch Coach Live, the first episode of 2025 under the lights here on a Wednesday night. What's going on, Maui?
What's up, man? How you doing?
Good, man. Hey, just hanging in there, man. Everything that's been going on in the city, man. We here.
Yeah,
We here.
yeah.
Yeah. So we are back at it here on Couch Coach Live, as I mentioned earlier, our first episode of the year. Now, obviously, we got a lot to talk about today. We'll talk about Black Monday, which Black Monday really wasn't as bad as we thought it was going to be, but we'll talk about the aftermath behind that of the Black Monday. As many people know, that is pretty much the day after the NFL regular season, where you'll see many coaches get fired. So we'll talk about that. We'll also discuss which job openings. I think we have 6 job openings, and which one is the most attractive out of the 6. So we'll discuss that. We'll talk a
hmm
little NBA. Jimmy Butler was suspended and may have played his last game with the Miami Heat. We'll discuss that. And Wildcard Weekend, great matchups this weekend. We'll just give our thoughts on Wildcard Weekend and how fun this weekend will be. And then we'll round it off with our picks. We'll do our wildcard picks and also our picks for tomorrow night. Well, the semifinal round of college football playoffs that's happening tomorrow night, and then on Friday we'll talk about that, and we'll put on the boat with our game ball. So we'll be right back here on Couch Coach Live. We'll hit that intro. We'll be right back. And we are back here on Couch Coach Live. As we talked about it earlier, as far as getting ready for Wild Card Weekend, we know one guy is not going to be part of Wild Card Weekend. Shout out to our big guy, Big Kirko. Unfortunately, the Falcon season didn't go as a plan, but hey, we are here. So we got to talk about this to me, like I talked about even last week. It's something I don't really like as far as when it comes to like hearing coaches getting fired, but it's also still in a weird way kind of a fun exercise because of the simple fact of, hey, team building, what's next, and kind of going forward, and seeing how these 16s will look going into next year, and could they be potentially one of these teams like the Washington Commanders being in a wild card round the next year. So we gotta talk about Black Monday. So Black Monday, they only really had one firing on Monday itself, was Doug Peterson, who was let go by the Jacksonville Jaguars. So that was one. First let's backtrack. Gerard Mayo got fired essentially right after the Patriots win over the Bills. Pretty much by the time he was able to get to his car home, he was fired. I think they announced about 4:30 before, after the game on Sunday. Then fast forward, we had an interesting fire with Antonio Pierce being fired as well, and then also the general manager of the Tennessee Titans, who actually hold the number 1 overall pick in this year's draft, Rand Carthon, was fired as well. So out of the names I kind of listed of the what I call Black Monday casualties, in a sense, which one kind of just surprised you, if any of these firings surprised you?
Um, I'm 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 surprised with all 3, even the GM. in Tennessee. And the reason why, and I don't know a lot of details, but I just felt like since he had been there, he had made the moves, and since he had made certain moves that was weird to us, why, you got to keep going. And I think all three. I mean, I don't know how you feel about it, but I think all three, like what Gerard Mayo, um, Antonio Pierce, like the Raiders. I mean, when you gonna start looking in the mirror and say, like, y'all have had issues? Y'all have had a squad too, but y'all have had issues for a very long time and a lot of controversy. So I thought, okay, with Antonio Pierce there, and then you still had a few players that seemed like they still was coming from that Gruden stage. You know what I mean? That needed to get out. I just was shocked. Like he had, what was he, 5-3 after Josh got fired last year? Antonio Pierce. He won like 5 games, didn't he?
I'm not sure. I think he did. Not 100% sure if
Right.
he.
Right.
I know he beat
But
obviously with the Kansas City game that kind of
right. So I did that too. Both of them was 4-13, and I looked at the teams that they beat. Um, like I'm just saying, man. Like I just think they should have gave them another season. Like you can't, like Gerard for the Patriots. We all know the Patriots is gonna stink, but the Patriots still compete. They still play hard. We knew. I mean, come on, he's coming. He's going like he's Bill Belichick was. You know what I'm saying? Like, come on, like what do you think is going to be? Like Bill Belichick was stinking up the place when he was. You know what I mean? But they still was always a threat. I mean, I could be tripping. I just feel like they should have gave them some more time. I feel like Antonio Pierce too. He was 4-13. They beat the Ravens. They beat the Browns. They beat the Jags. They beat the Saints. Um, the Ravens, they beat them early. I get it. The Saints at one time, they were looking at that team with like they was going to be dominant early. I'm just saying they got, like these ain't, you know, like the Browns underachieved, but still, they still a solid team. Like they got quarterback issues. Um, the Jags are the Jags. You know what I mean? They lost their coach too. I just don't think. I wish they would have gave them another year. Is what I'm saying, and see if there was any improvement after that year. It's. So to me, I believe they got fired because they felt like there's some better opportunities of coaches for their teams. I could be wrong. You coach, but that's how I feel. I really want your take on the GM coach of Tennessee, though.
Yeah, it's what I find funny about these firings. They're lopsided. Generally,
Uh huh.
most times, and this is something I will always say. This time, death taxes in the first week of the NFL, first week of the calendar year after Black Monday. This whole reinventing the wall, reinventing the wheel. It starts with the general manager, and the general manager has to hire a coach.
Right.
In this coaching cycle, which is very weird, Antonio Pierce, he's fired, but the general manager stays. Telesco.
Right.
Rod Mayo is fired. Elliot Wolf is still there, the general manager.
Mm-hmm.
Rand Carthon fired, but Lil Bill, what's Callahan? Callahan is still there, the head coach.
Mm-hmm.
Doug Peterson, another one. Trent Baalke, the general manager, still stays on. And now it's funny to
Right.
think that these general managers who are left behind literally get a second shot. I think the one that really kind of shocked me, I think none of them really shocked me. I just know, like for Antonio Pierce situation, it sucked because what did you guys expect? I mean, you far from a
Right.
quarterback position. You got Aiden O'Connell. What's his face? The kid. They played for the Colts last year? Oh gosh, Gardner Minshew.
Mm-hmm.
And then even sprinkled in a little Desmond Ritter. So what do you expect that was going to happen there? Gerard Mayo, I just think that was like a buyer's remorse, like kind of impulse thing, because I think Kraft, I don't know why Kraft put that in his contract that he was going to be Bill's successor. he shouldn't have did that because I think, in my personal opinion, he wants to hire Mike Vrabel, and he could have had Mike Vrabel last year if he didn't buy that contract. And I think that's where that comes. So I think you put Gerard Mayo in such a messed up situation. Rand Carthon, I think that was, to me, was silly because to me, I think they were building something there. Obviously, even the moves that he did as far as getting like Snead from Kansas City, I thought that was a good move. I was curious how the situation was going to be with him getting a number 1 overall pick. Then now you look at Deion Sanders when that news was out, he tweeted out with eyes emojis. So to me, I look at that situation where it's like, hey, how that's going to work out with you having number 1 overall pick. That's going to be odd. And I think Doug Peterson, I think that the writing was on the wall. I think he's one of those ones where he's about every 3 or 4 year kind of guy. So it's like the locker room kind of runs. It runs his coach to Doug Peterson. You look at like even in the Philly days where I think he was there like 4 or 5 years, won Super Bowl in 2017/18, then get let go in 2020. So I mean, none of them honestly shocked me. As far as probably Rand Carthon, because I definitely thought they would give him a chance, especially give him the opportunity to. He's there for 2 years, then having the ability to hire Callahan. I thought that was going to be something where, and they're another one that needs a quarterback. So crazy times, but it is what it is.
I got a question.
Yeah.
As a GM, what's the expired if you hired a new GM? What's the expiration date if your team if you were a team, let's say you're a team like what's a horrible team? Let's say the Jags went to the playoffs. Let's say the Jets. Well, see, I don't want to say the Jets because the Jets is New York and they got. I'm just saying a football team that has not made the playoffs in years. That's not a team where they're not the Cowboys or the Browns or the Jets. Like a small market, I guess you could say somewhat small market team. What's the expiration date of a GM coming in?
Well, it just depends. I mean, most time it's the success. I mean, and this depends on what the owner, in a sense, wants. And I think even when you brought up the Jets point, that's another example of kind of where they had the opportunity, and obviously they're drafting because at that time that was I got Joe Douglas from Mechanicsville, the former general manager with the Jets. He had opportunity. Obviously, he hired Robert Saleh. I think he was a part of drafting Zach Wilson, also acquiring Aaron Rodgers. It's just one of those things where this is how I would do it like this. If I'm starting over, I would get rid of both said head coach and get rid of the general manager. Hire the general manager first.
Right.
Then the general manager hires the head coach, and then they all lock in step. But you see how in this cycle it's backwards, where it's like, okay, we look at these 4 examples. If the coach got fired, his boss stayed. Or if the boss gets fired, but the person who he hired stays, which that's going to be another situation in Tennessee that's going to be baffling because, okay, what is it going to do for Callahan? Because now, will that new general manager bring somebody else in? So that's where it's like, and more so from if it's expiration period, it's more so. I think it's just more to me. I think is if you have, as general manager, if you have failed as far as from a coach, I think you only get that one time. I mean, we've even seen a few years ago with Arizona, remember when they drafted Josh Rosen in 1 year, they had Steve Wilkes as the head coach. They let the GM stay, and then that's when he hired my guy, Cliff Kingsbury, and then also Kyler Murray. And then you see how that kind of blew up maybe a year or two after that situation. So he was able to actually, to hire 2 coaches, which I think to me, and it just depends on the circumstance, but generally I think it should just be a situation where y'all are locked up, like get together. Like I always look at the success of San Francisco, even though this year it wasn't good with San Francisco, but you think to themselves, they hired John Lynch, 6-year deal. Who came along with him? Cal Shanahan. They both had 6-year deals. And then even now, you look at even the tough year they have, their owner said flat out, they're coming back in 2025.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I look at it from that standpoint of, I think the expiration day is essentially the success, and then coupled with if there's a situation where if the coach failed, that falls on you as well, because that's the person that you hired.
Right.
And then whoever comes in is going to be at a disadvantage because it's going to be the other way around. Because you see how now, Tennessee's going to be a mess, and now it sucks because they got number 1 pick. So it's like, who knows?
Right. I got you. I just wanted to get your take on that.
Yeah. So we talked about essentially 3 coaching firings, but obviously throughout the year, there has been some coaching firings. Obviously, we look at with the Bears situation, they have vacancy. Obviously, we know that Matt Eberflus was let go. Robert Saleh was let go by the New York Jets. Then also Dennis Allen was let go with the Saints. So that adds on to the Bears, Jets, Saints, Raiders, Jaguars, and Patriots. Now, which job is the most attractive? If you were out here being interviewed for these jobs and you could pick any one of these 6 options, what job would you take?
Let me think. Which ones did you say again? It was the Bears.
So it's going to be the Bears, the Jets, the Saints, Raiders, Jags, and the Patriots.
I think and the Patriots. I think I'm gonna go with the Jags. So first off, I don't think the expectation will be as high. I think I think it would be the Jags because I really the weather, and then I think there still was a team where they were growing, and they got some players, they got some things going on. I think that's where I would want to go because I don't think the expectations is as high, and I think I can figure out a way to get us to the playoffs, and then when that happens, hopefully the GM back me, and then we can get some more players there.
Yeah.
Because I still feel like I said, I think Doug, it was something about, you said something about it. I think Doug lost because I just felt like, I think Doug really, like you said, he has an expiration date. It's a certain amount of time. But I still think the Jags is pretty good. I just think that, I don't know, like, they was getting some young players that was coming in. I just don't think that they probably need just a couple more pieces.
Yeah. I really have 3, but I'm gonna narrow it down to one, then honorable mention. I think if it was up to me and I had a choice, I probably would do I think the most attractive to me would be the Patriots, because of the salary cap money that they have.
Okay, there you go.
Have over $131 million in salary cap, and that's projected. So it might be a little bit higher as the once the NFL announced their salary cap number for 2025. So they'll be in that ballpark. Put it that way. Take higher or lower, right in that sweet spot. You got the franchise quarterback in Drake May, my nephew. They're another one where I hate that they won last week. That's one of the reasons why Troy Hill got fired. Because he did get fired after a win. Because now they're in the 4th spot, and it sucks because I don't think, because they're drafting now at 4. I don't think Travis Hunter's going to drop, but just for the sake of this exercise, if he drops to 4 and then couple with him with Christian Gonzalez on the other side, I mean, you got a nice young cornerback duo for the future.
Right.
Build upon that $100-something million that you'll have Or if push comes to shove, you get get McMillan, the wide receiver from Arizona. Either or, I think it can help. I really was hoping that Travis Hunter went to the Patriots, but I don't necessarily think he's gonna fall because if you look at the draft order at this point, Tennessee's 1, Cleveland's 2, so they probably could get a quarterback. 1, 2 can be a quarterback. Then leave with the Giants. I think they're gonna be kind of that last person out, so they're gonna have to get the best person available, which could be Travis Hunter. So it's like, but I do like that, and then with them having that, they have a lot of pieces, so I think that would be kind of a to have that salary cap and just be kind of smart with it. Don't break the bank on guys, but I think and if it's the way obviously it would be my way. I would do it like how Bill would do it in a sense where it's like, hey, we're gonna spend a little bit of money. We're gonna draft a little bit better. We got some money, so we can kind of fill a decent and competitive roster. Then the next one is I want to say the Jets. I think with the Jets, the thing about them is what's so crazy about them. If they can just, their issue is the quarterback. They just need to get a serviceable quarterback because they got good guys on. Like as far as when I look at besides maybe the Bears, they probably got the most talent rich out of all the 6 openings that we have. You got and they're young talent. Like you can build upon a Garrett Wilson, a Sauce Gardner, and these guys are young. You know, so it's like you look at that, and then you also look at like even like a Breece Hall. The only thing is like they're literally, and I don't necessarily think they have to get an Aaron Rodgers type of quarterback yet again. I still think you can get if you get a mid-tier quarterback. I would say, dare I say, insert Kirk Cousins in this. Because even with the production that they've had with in the past with Zach Wilson, Mike White, even an older Joe Flacco, they still was a competitive team. And you think to yourself, like, if they can, and I'm not necessarily saying Kirk Cousins, but they can get somebody like him that I can say is in that top 15, top 16 as far as quarterbacks, they can make some noise because I think that's their only issue. In my personal opinion, I mean, there's some other issues, but as far as the glaring issue, has got to be the quarterback. And plus, if Garrett Wilson has already said, hey, if Aaron Rodgers come back, I might be trying to go somewhere else. So it's like I want to keep a Garrett Wilson. I'm not gonna hedge my bet on an aging 41-year-old quarterback and let this young talent and Garrett Wilson walk out the door. No, not at this point. Yeah.
Aaron Rodgers, right? Do you feel because he hurt his ACL, right? The first year, right? Achilles or what? It was ACL. Achilles. So do you feel like he played this year, but he might have been a little insecure about that injury? And maybe since he got through this whole season, maybe he come back and next year he play better?
So I don't know as far as, and I think it could be just the age as well too. Because I mean, I think
I'm sure.
I think it's primarily age too, and he has lost a step. And I think, honestly, I think after hearing him Sunday after the game, I think he's done. It's when he interviewed Pam Oliver, something about that just felt like finality. Like they talked and. He said, I love you, Pam. And, it was like, it's weird. Like, it just, because you don't really get that from like an Aaron Rodgers. And it just feel like that was the end. Like, it was so weird. And I think it was, obviously, because obviously it was fitting because, obviously Pam Oliver has been around his whole entire career. So obviously she's interviewed him countless of times. So I got a strange feeling this is it for him. I mean, and he even talked about like, hey, I'm going to make a decision soon. I'm not going to kind of keep them at hostage. We'll talk, and it'll be one of those things where, and plus you can just tell, like, I mean, even in the past off seasons where he really hasn't been around for, mini camps, what have you, I think dude is done. I think Aaron Rodgers
I
is
got
done.
you.
I think
I
he's
mean,
retired.
probably about time. You know what I mean? Is
Yeah.
anybody from his era still playing?
Because he was in the
Flacco and
2005 draft. I
well,
don't think
Flacco
no one's
and
around.
right, right.
I don't think nobody's around 2000 because I think no, because he's in 2005 NFL draft. I don't think no one is available. I think I don't think nobody. Come to think about it, because it probably would have to be a quarterback. I definitely don't know because I think the only quarterbacks really was in that draft was Alex Smith, um, Jason Campbell.
Mm, mm.
I don't think nobody's around at this point from that 05 draft.
Yeah, it's time. It's
Yeah,
time. It's all good. But
but yeah,
I'm hearing you. Like I'm hearing your picks, and I'm like, I took the punk route. I'm like, I'm going Jags because okay, you got a phenom quarterback with the Bears, right? Now he just got his
mhm.
coach fired, and that was a new coach, wasn't it? Wasn't that a new coach?
No, but Eberflus, he's been around. I want to say like 3 years. I think he's been
So he's
around
been in
about
for,
3 years. He was there for a couple of years.
right, and they kept the GM, and the GM I remember because I remember now because I remember the
Yeah,
conversations we were having. I got you. They made those
yeah.
trades. I remember that now. So if I was an offensive minded or bring in an offensive minded a coordinator, I would go. He's got to be unique. I would go with the Bears, but the organization sucks. I don't know that, but from listening to you guys, JB, and some of the players on these podcasts, they don't have anything nice to say about the Bears organization. So I thought about that. Then I saw how crazy the Jets has been. And they talking about getting Rex Ryan again. You know what I mean? And I
Yeah.
was like, and I understand why because I think with Tomlin and the Detroit Lions coach, like you want those animated coaches that can somewhat motivate you. Even Dan Quinn, you know what I mean? I see what he's
Yeah.
doing. I see what Andy Reid is doing. Like, you know what I'm saying? You need that, especially with this. People got to understand this is a different generation too. You know what I mean? So you got to have somebody that be able to um, will motivate them and maybe not. I don't know what Keith you can relate, but so I was just going back and I'm like, okay, I'm looking at my quarterback with the Jags. They paid him, so they're going for it, and he. I mean. I won't say he's a dud because he won a national championship, but it's getting close to start looking at their quarterback almost like he's a dud. I thought he was going to be better. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So me, I'm like, shoot, I go down there, weather good. They got a couple pieces. Shoot, get him, get him in the playoffs a couple times. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But the Patriots. I think this going to always be a problem because Bill Belichick was there and he had a system. You know what I'm saying? He had the Belichick way. I don't know. I think the Cowboys kind of went through this when they was going to get like Bill Parcells and all these different, even they still going through it now. Like they haven't found one of those coaches that is like a Phil Jack, like I'm saying those type of like a Bill Belichick, Phil Jackson. What's your man from Alabama? You know what I'm saying? Like
Nick
just got their
Saban.
own thing going. When they bring it in, they bring in their thing in there, and you got to give them some type of control. You know what I mean?
But remember, the Cowboys have their owner is the general manager as well, in Jerry
Right,
Jones.
right. That's what I'm saying.
I'm telling you, they have that in my personal opinion, and a Mike McCarthy, but he's
Right,
limited. That's the thing
right,
about that. Like they could,
right,
it just goes to show you how many great coaches. Hell, he got rid of Jimmy Johnson when they were
right,
winning Super Bowls. Like, so
right,
just imagine, like he has had those guys there. It's the general manager. He's the one that screwed over Cooper Rush because Cooper Rush was on the verge of getting an incentive, and then he started Trey Lance talking about something. I didn't know. I read something about it. You're the general manager. You're the one who signs the contract. You're the one that put this system in place. How did you read about something that you did? So it's just like that's why. To your point with this whole Cowboy situation, it's not gonna work because of
How old is
stuff
he?
like that. He's probably like in his. I think he's in his 80s. I don't know how old per se he is.
I'm
Yeah,
not trying to be
he's
mean,
in his 80s.
but when they get about that, about that age, man, you got to sit them down because it ain't being disrespectful. Like they're 80, they almost 100 years old. You know what I'm saying? Like to their mind, not saying that it's a little bit slower, and you know what I mean. And like, listen to what you
Yeah,
just said again. It's in it. I read something, and you know what I mean. It's just certain things like you say, hey man, it's like, okay, you still can do the job, but you just don't have the reflexes like you should. You know what I mean? And there's no disrespect.
yeah,
It's just things are a little bit different now, and you got to you got to get some. You know what I mean? I will even come to you, and me and you will talk, and we'll see blah blah blah. You know what I mean? But nah, man, I
yeah.
just seen him on Land, man. And like he did a really good job acting on it. And I was just like, yo, he's getting old. It's time that he needs to sit down. But who's going to tell? Nobody is going to tell him to sit down. But he needs to sit down. For what he needs to sit down.
Yeah.
He needs to
Who
sit
will tell
down.
him that? But
And
I guarantee he's told that, but he doesn't listen.
just like you just said about the coach, Gerard Mayo, putting that in his contract. Bill Belichick told him to put that in his contract, right? That's how petty to me Bill Belichick is. Yeah, hey man, put this in your contract and make sure you be my assessor.
I think it's more so a crap because remember, Gerard Mayo ended up because he was a candidate for the Denver job when Denver hired David Hackett. He was one of the candidates for that job, and that's why I think that was Kraft trying to keep him there so he wouldn't lose him. But then you get rid of him after 1 year, which just makes zero sense. But I understand why he did that because,
right.
That's the thing I don't understand. Is like he could have got Mike Vrabel because he got fired this time last year.
Right.
So it's just like he could have got him. Like
What's
I just don't understand.
What's the odds that he end up being if they hire Vrabel, that young man Mayo end up being like a coordinator? What's the odds?
I mean, it might. I don't know. That'd be kind of awkward, but I mean, it's a possibility. Not sure how that all will work out, but the thing with Jared has ego, and this is something that nobody can't tell him nothing. You think to yourself, he's a billionaire. You can't tell him nothing, and he just gonna be there. But yeah, but I definitely think if I had to choose one. I just look at it from the flexibility where I can have the money and the draft picks. Right. Got the franchise quarterback that I want. Out of all these guys, out of all these vacancies. I mean, I still think Caleb Williams is gonna be a good gonna have a great career. I know a lot of people I think people fail to realize, yes, you got two good rookie quarterbacks that came out this year and have exceeded expectations in Jaden Daniels and Bo Nix. If you remove those two out of the equation, we would probably be talking about Caleb Williams potentially. Well, obviously, probably would be like the Brock Bowers, but as far as from the quarterback perspective, that's the thing he would. If you remove those two out of the equation, so. But yeah, yeah. So we gotta talk a little association. So we gotta talk about Jimmy Butler. So a lot has transpired since we left the airway last week. Well, last year, we'll put it that way. So there's always been a thing going on with Jimmy Butler, even as we went on air last week. Jimmy Butler, for some bizarre reason, would always have these different hair colors resembling teams that may have interest. I know one time he had some orange in his hair, one time blue in his hair. And this is even before we were last week. So kind of went to the head last Thursday-ish. I think last Thursday or I forgot what day last week after they lost. And he pretty much said that he was still trying to find his joy on the court. So a lot of people say, think to themselves, okay, does he mean, this whole thing with the, Miami Heat? And then after the game, he did discuss that, that he wanted to trade. So, on last Friday night, which I think everybody kind of was taken aback, and Jimmy Butler got suspended for 7 games due to due to conflict detrimental to the team. So with that suspension, it will runs through January 17th. I think that's, but a lot of people are thinking that pretty much we have seen Jimmy Butler last time as a Miami Heat. So currently on his deal, he makes $48.8 million. He has an option next year for 52.4. And his plans was to decline to get a longer deal. He wants to be a max deal guy. Obviously, I think that's pretty much the reason why, because Miami had an opportunity to sign him for, I think it was $132 million deal. They didn't do it last summer. And then even in the midst of all this, there are certain teams that are not on Jimmy Butler's list. That includes the Memphis Grizzlies and the Milwaukee Bucks. So what's your thoughts on this Jimmy Butler suspension and just this drama that comes with old Jimmy Butler?
So I'm gonna go both sides. I mean, me personally, I think Jimmy Butler on the court can be playing wise can be a superstar, right? But I really do. To me, he's a 2 or 3rd option. You know what I mean? I feel like he's like a, I don't know. I've always felt that way. I could be wrong. I'm not tripping off of that. Like, I remember him in the bubble when he played his heart out and he could barely walk at the press conference. I think a lot of people forgot about that. I remember them being one of the first playing tournament teams to make it to the finals. And I remember him with PJ. I remember this because I said PJ Tucker had just won the championship with the Bucks the year before, and they didn't sign him. So I think it was either was it the finals they played? They played the Nuggets in the finals, right?
Yeah, that next year. Yep, in
So
2022.
I made a joke and I said, PJ Tuck, I said, when you saw Giannis sit on the bench and he looked down and he said, I'm missing PJ Tucker. When the Heat lost, I seen PJ Tucker look at Jimmy Butler and said, I'm missing Giannis. I would never forget that. He was looking like, because, and no offense to Jimmy Butler, I think he was hurt that year too. I think he was hurt during the playoffs, but he still played. But it just, he need help, and even the help that they got was like Kyle Lowry. Did they have Kevin Love there yet at that period of time? Regardless, they've never gave him somebody like he should, and I think now I'm gonna go to the other side. I think he plays too much. I think he keep thinking when he wants to leave, he act up. Every place he went to, when he wants to leave, he tries to embarrass the team. He tries to embarrass the organization. That's just facts. I don't know about Chicago, but I damn sure
Yeah.
remember Minnesota. I damn sure remember Philly. You know what I mean? And really, I think in Philly he acted up a little bit, but I just think they was like, I think the coach was the one that really, because I think the coach ended up getting fired, right? For Philly at the time. So I'm
Hey,
just saying
Bruce
it's just,
Brown. I'm not Bruce. Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
but I'm just saying in general, it's always some type of controversy or something. Like, to me, when he started perming his hair and doing that, I can clearly see he was ready to break loose. I don't care what he says. No, not even that. Remember when he was arguing? I'm doing this on purpose too. Remember when he was arguing with the coach? And then Haslam had to jump on him?
Oh,
You
so I
remember
was
that?
spoke. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Like, and everybody looking like, man, that's Spo. Why would you? I ain't never seen nobody, you know what I mean? Like, man, all of these things that's done happen, like, he really, to me, should have probably most likely been gone a long time ago. You know what I mean? Like, he would perm his hair when they taking pictures in the beginning of the season. There's always something. And when you look at Miami, they seem very disciplined. They have, now stuff coming out. Like, a lot of people really don't like going there because of all the discipline things that you got to do. Like, I think Zion need to go there. It might help him with his weight. But now this this thing with the suspension is just weird. I'm really I'm hoping to get your take on it because I haven't really got the information to say um why they did it. Are they upset because he's texting and speaking his mind up saying he doesn't want to be there? I think I heard something about something dealing with some laundry or something. But if he did something, why didn't you suspend him when he was doing all this stuff before? Why you wait to now when he basically saying he doesn't want to be there? So that's my take on it. I think it's been a rocky relationship from the get go.
Yeah. So when I thought about it, so it was the 2023 NBA Finals because the 2022 was Boston and Golden State. So
And Go
yes,
State, yeah,
to clarify
yeah,
that. Yeah.
right,
Um. So the thing about this situation is like it's deja vu all over again. I mean, it's everywhere he's gone, it's been that way. And plus, it's fine back then when you were 28, 29. Now you're 35 years old. Like you are essentially at this point, you're past your prime. And I think, and this is to me, I look at a situation like with Miami, they're growing tired of it. And it's like I'm not going to give you that. And that's one thing I would give Pat Riley his due where he'll get rid of guys before it's too late. Like he did that for
right,
Dwayne Wade. So you definitely think if he did this to Dwayne Wade, he's definitely like you saying zero chance. Like Dwayne Wade is, I mean, he has a statue in the building, but doesn't look like him, but he has a statue. Put it that way. So put it that way. But he is royalty for the Miami Heat. So I my thing is this though, but it's the same thing because in Philly, the same thing happened here where they decided to sign Tobias Harris over him. Chicago's the same way where he wanted to get more money and he was the last year of his deal. And I feel for Miami because what is Miami gonna get? I mean, they're not gonna get like pennies on a dollar. They're gonna get pennies on a dollar for this deal. Like I know a lot of people have been looking at maybe trading with Phoenix straight up with Bradley Beal, but the thing with Bradley Beal is, I mean, he'll be a great piece for this Miami Heat team, but would you get that kind of in exchange? But then for Phoenix, why would you want like a Jimmy Butler? Like it's almost like to a point where it's just like it's it's just messy. And I think and like you said, they spend them because conduct detrimental to the team. Yes, when you come out here talk about that you want to get traded, and because Pat Riley, they don't play. This ain't everywhere else where it's like they don't care. They're gonna just say, hey, and then this January 17th when he's eligible to come back, they're just gonna battle. It's gonna be a situation where he's just not gonna be a part of this team until the trade deadline. I think the trade deadline is like the first week of February. So, I mean, they're gonna get them out of here, and even if they get pennies on a dollar, they're gonna take it because at the end of the day, they're not like everyone else where it's like they're desperate. Like Miami's like, hey, if you don't want to be here, that's fine. But we gonna call the shots. You know,
right.
just because you can pick wherever you want to go, but we're gonna do what's best for us on the deal. So, I mean, yeah, and I feel for whoever's next team because he's gonna be the same way. And the other thing is who's gonna be willing to give him that long-term extension? Who's going to give him the max next year?
I think they about to squeeze him out because when you sit there and think about, don't get me wrong, like I said, I had a newfound respect for Jimmy Butler in the bubble because we seen how hard he played. Like he hurt his body, like he could barely walk. But I mean, let's just be real, man. Like first of all, he ain't won nothing. You know what I'm saying? I'm not. He plays. See, the thing of it is, to me in basketball is people who has what's the word I'm thinking of? Like they just have this energy where they play hard. And it's supposed to infuse other people to want to play hard. You know what I mean? Diving on the floor, grabbing balls, fighting to get rebounds. It's supposed to inspire your whole team or both teams to want to play more because this dude is really playing. That's Jimmy Butler. But the problem is It's like and that's what bothers me a lot of times about sports, especially the NBA. They force feed us. Like, to me, I don't think he's the number one option. I really think he's like a 2 or 3. And I didn't even look up his stats, but is he an all? How many times was he an All Star?
He's been also a few times.
And I'm sure he has, but you don't even think about him when you think about the All Star game, or you just think of him as a hard basketball playing like star. You know what I mean? And I don't like. Look, I'm not taking anything from him. I'm not trying to come off like I'm hating on him. I'm not, but it's just a reality check, and that I think he has to hit. And I'm thinking, I don't know why. Like, for instance, if Westbrook is coming off the bench, or Westbrook has to do this, then guess what? Jimmy Butler need to do the same thing. Like you said, Jimmy, he's trying to be a max guy, where you know Westbrook actually got the stats and everything for that. And to me, they play a lot alike. Like, they have that drive when they play. Is what I mean. You know what I mean?
So yeah, he's a 6-time NBA All-Star. He's been
How
All-Star
long he
game
played
6
in the
times.
league? How long he been in the league?
He's been since 2011. So it's
This
been
is
about
2011.
14
Yeah,
years. So I mean,
and
and it's kind of been recent. I mean, you think about it, since 2015, he's been 6 times. So it's been what, 10 years?
right, and don't remember nothing. I'm just saying. I know it's the All Star game
Yeah.
and everybody dog, but I don't really remember. And he should be, because he's one of those names that we know. But it's just it's to me, it's just making that era of basketball, because like, now he's being that way. You got Harden, you got all these dudes, man. That's getting older, and they just being and tossing around, and they following each other, like Paul George. They all following each other to these
Yeah.
different teams. And what are
That's
you
in
really
prime.
doing? You know what I mean? What
I
are you
mean,
really
we
doing?
know getting that money, keeping that check. Because I mean,
Right.
that's
That's what
where
they doing,
that's
is
the
getting
thing.
bread. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. They getting
And
that bread.
you can't blame them. I mean,
I'm
at
not
this
knocking
point,
it. I'm not knocking it at
if
all.
I'm right,
I'm not knocking.
right. But like, to me, at 35, like you said, you talked about a situation like in the bubble. We got to think about stuff. That was almost 5 years ago. He's not going to give you
Right.
that game 5 effort current day. No.
Right.
So that's the thing where, like I was saying earlier, yes, he could have commanded in Chicago back in 2017, because he
Right.
was, pretty
Right.
much a guy that was averaging like 2 or 3 points at Marquette, you know,
Right.
you know, then becoming like almost becoming at time for Chicago a perennial All-Star at the
Right.
time. So
You,
yes,
you
and you
know.
think that was
Right.
what? How many? That was what, 8 years ago. So doing the
Right.
math, he was 27, 28. So yeah, you could do it then, but now, nah.
I think what you just said. I think that they should trade him to Phoenix. I think they should trade him to Phoenix. I think he would play well with Kevin Durant, and I think he'd play well with Booker. I'm gonna tell you why. Because it's the same with Booker. Like, in college, Booker was okay, and then they made him the franchise guy. Booker, I don't think. See, they were saying the how many shots each person got to take. Like, Bradley Beal is a scorer. You know what I mean? Jimmy Butler can do everything else. He doesn't have to score. He can get a bucket, but he doesn't have to score. Now, I think it also gives them a little, give them a little ruggedness. You know what I'm saying? A little roughness that I think a lot of teams that want to win a championship need to have. You know what I mean?
But yeah,
So,
Phoenix, yeah, that might be the most viable option as far as where you can get somewhat bang of a buck for your forward. Because I
right,
don't think anyone else. Because I know that people looked at Dallas. I'm like, if you do Dallas, what you
yeah,
really gonna get out of that deal? Then I think you might mess up their core in a sense.
yeah,
I would assume you're gonna be giving up young pieces, probably
right,
Spencer Dinwiddie, just
right,
for a contract part. So, yeah, and yeah, he's just been a distraction. And we know Miami they're not into distractions. I mean, obviously we've seen that, with Dwayne Wade, LeBron James. We've seen that down the line, and this, even in
hmm
this 10, 15-year period of Miami Heat, or hell, even a 30-year history with Pat Riley being there for nearly over 30 years now. So he
So
don't
do you
play.
So Phoenix, do you think they have problem with height? They need height, right? That
Um,
their issue,
that and then they need some depth. That's the only
right?
thing
So
about it where it's like
I
you
I
don't
would
know.
give up. I would the two starters that they sitting on the bench. I would give them from Jimmy Butler. No lie, I would give them up because to me, it's going to be an issue anyway. You know what I'm saying? It's going to
Yeah.
be an issue anyway because they putting these. You putting Bradley Beal on the bench, and you putting was it Zerk? What's his name? Um,
Um, I know you're talking about. That's what are you talking about? I know you're talking about though.
yeah, and it's going to be a problem because he's putting them on the bench. You know what I mean? And so I'm like, why even? Well, that's what I'm saying. Even Miami, like, why? You suspended him, but why even play with Jimmy Butler? They already said on these podcasts, they say he gonna come back and he gonna say something like his ankle or something hurt, so he's gonna get all that money back. Like, why even play with a player like that? Just go ahead and make the deal and get it over with. Get him out of there. You know what I'm saying?
And I think
I'm
they
not
are.
playing
It's
like a
just
guy
more
like I'm
so,
not.
yeah,
I'm not playing with Jimmy Butler. B. I'm no offense. I'm sorry to cut you off, but I'm not playing with Jimmy
yeah,
Butler. No, nah,
yeah. Hence the
no,
suspension. Yeah, and
yeah,
that's why they suspended him at the time because now it's going to give them time so they could get rid of him. That's why they did it. At the
right,
timing of it was
right,
essentially to get rid of him because now we're about a month away from the trade deadline. Hey,
right.
we've already kind of drew the line in the sand. We suspend him. He'll be back next Saturday or next Friday, and then we
Mm-hmm.
can ship him out. Oh yeah, they knew. Yeah, because they have moved on, and that's where that's like to me suspending somebody like that this time of the year.
Mm-hmm.
That's the sign of hey, this is about to be this is about to be a split. So it is what it is.
And then I think him
But
being with Kevin Durant, he ain't gonna be able to be wild. I don't think he's gonna wild out as much as he did with you know what I mean as he did with other places. I think he'll have more respect for Kevin Durant.
we shall see. That'd be interesting though. All right. So we'll switch back to the NFL. So we got Wildcard Weekend. Once again, another great weekend of football slated. We got three great days of football, and man, cannot wait. So first off, we're gonna talk about what are some storylines to watch for you in this NFL Wildcard Weekend. What you got?
Um, it's very easy. I got will Lamar finally lead the Ravens to at least the Super Bowl, and I said with T.J. Watt um, finally win his first finally win a playoff game.
Is it who?
Watt.
Okay. Any other storylines?
No, that's it.
It's a few. Obviously, I think to me the first thing is gonna be deja vu. So matter of fact, what's the day? Oh man, we missed the date, missed the date. So Washington Commanders versus the Tampa Bay Buccaneers is the 3-6 matchup.
All
The
right.
last time that the Washington Redskins / Commander / football team has won a playoff game was January 7th, 2006 versus Tampa Bay Buccaneers at Tampa Bay. The Buccaneers was a third seed, and the Commander / Redskins was a sixth seed. I feel like deja
Mm-hmm.
vu all over again. There's been a point. There's a college freshman in this that have never seen a Washington Commanders playoff win. It's been 19 years since they won a playoff game. So now you look at it. Fast forward, could he have deja vu in this matchup? And then kind of sticking with this game, it's the rematch of Week 1 game. So obviously Tampa Bay and Washington kicked off the season in Week 18, Week 1, pardon me, which feels like it felt like that was like 2 weeks ago, but in theory that was almost 20 weeks ago, which is really crazy. So then also we had the rematch of the Brazil Friday night matchup in week 1 where you had Green Bay versus Philadelphia. That's going to be a definitely interesting matchup. And then let's talk about the rookie quarterbacks. Let's talk about Jaden Daniels and also Bo Nix. Will they join Joe Flacco, Mark Sanchez, and the two-time Richard Time Dispatch Player of the Year and Russell Wilson to win a road playoff game in their first start? Um, I look at I'm curious about the health of Jalen Hurts and Jordan Love. Both of them were they were in practice. They were limited in practice today. Obviously we're airing this on a Wednesday. So they are both back in practice. So I just want to see how they will go throughout the rest of the week and how they'll play on Sunday. And then I think you look at Ravens versus Steelers, another one. It's an NFC North battle. To me, black and blue. I always look at like it's essentially a train wreck every week as far as from a physical standpoint. Not saying that it's a train wreck, but more so just the physicalness of that game. You will always see it. So once they had it in their wild card matchup, it's going to be really interesting as far as that's concerned. So, what are your matchups to watch in this and then wild card weekend?
Oh, I got two. Okay. Um, and my second one is a sneaky one but the first one is definitely, man, the Steelers versus the Ravens. This will be their third game for this year. They split. And then, Lamar, like I said, Lamar actually, you know, he needs to get to that. He needs to get to that Super Bowl. And then, you know, and see if my Steelers man can actually just put it together. Score, get the offense the way it's supposed to. But my second one is the Commanders versus the Buccaneers. I think that's going to be a good game, a good, fast-paced, intense game. You know what I mean? I really do. And I don't care. I still don't like him. He was a Cleveland Brown. So, man, you go out there and you bake that. I remember what Lamar said, all that stuff back in the day. And I hold grudges. You know what I mean? So I hope the Commanders go out there and do what they're supposed to do. But yeah, those are my two matchups I'm really looking for. Rest of this playoff, so I'm liking. But them two matchups is what I'm really looking forward to.
Now, I'm interested about I think the Bills versus the Broncos is really intriguing.
It is.
And I know a lot of people are looking at like, Buffalo should smoke them, but I don't know in a weird way. Like, Bo Nix has really changed kind of how I've looked at this Denver Broncos team. And it's funny because this is gonna be a high scoring game. I think a lot of you think to yourself like whoever has the ball last in this matchup potentially could win this football game. It's really very, very odd. Obviously, Commanders versus Buccaneers, obviously a primetime matchup. Now you want to see what Jay Daniel can do now, especially what obviously these two teams have played in week 1, how things have changed since they played each other in week 1 and how Jay will handle the blitz. So I know Todd Bowles gonna throw the kitchen sink at him and to see how he does. I think even in that game, I think he had 82 rush yards, in that game. So it's gonna be really interesting how they play now. You add that factor of Marshawn Lattimore, and that's why I hate when Commanders fans always talk about he's been out these last 2 weeks. Okay, it's he. This is what you want in a matchup like this. This is when you have to go against a Mike Evans, you want to have a guy like a Marshawn Lattimore because he's the one that he gets to him, and we obviously can tell if you look at it, they've been in a fight together, and obviously Lattimore is somewhat, in my personal opinion, someone got the best of him in a lot of those matchups. So this is why you traded for him on November the 5th. For a game like this. So it's like, okay, yes, he was out against Dallas last week. He was out against the Falcons. I know he's still nursing that hammy. If he can go on Sunday night, this is what we want, and we got him for the next 2 years. So why not? So that's what he's built for. He's built for a matchup like this. This is why it's okay. Like this is why, and this is what makes Adam Peters a great GM, because he understands the long-term vision of it. And I think this is where I look at it from the standpoint of, hey, I think he's seen this kind of coming down the horizon, and now you got to get the corner. And then another game, I think, I hate that the NFL does this. They always put the Houston Texans that Saturday 4:30 game. I hate that they do that to the Texans. I don't care who they play. They're the first game to kind of kick off Wildcard Weekend. But I kind of like that. That's a sneaky good Houston and the Chargers. I think would be a really good matchup. I really want to see how how the Chargers will be as far as in that matchup, because I was obviously we was all hoping for the Harbaugh Bowl again in the wild card, but we won't get it this year. So I do like that one. Obviously, you got two good young quarterbacks in Justin Herbert and also CJ Stroud. Can CJ kind of get off the skid? It's really interesting, but I definitely think that's another one as well. I do like that Minnesota Minnesota Rams matchup. That's another one I think that could be detrimental for Minnesota. And that could be, and that's one thing we knew. We talked about it last week. Whoever was going to lose that Minnesota Detroit game, it's got to be deflating the fact that a 14-3 team got to go on the road, and not just on the road, but they got to go west to LA. Like, so, and yeah, and also definitely thoughts and prayers to everyone that's affected in the wildfires in LA. I know, just got a notice from the NFL. They were saying they're still going to probably potentially still have that game on Monday, but if anything changes, we'll let you guys know on social media. But definitely my thoughts and prayers to everyone in LA affected by the wildfires, man. For sure.
Right.
So, what team with the most pressure on Wildcard Weekend?
I got the Chiefs, and I got two. The Chiefs and the Ravens.
The Chiefs not playing this week. It's more so the teams that
also this weekend.
For this weekend.
So,
this weekend. Yeah.
So I mean, I'm gonna say the Ravens and the Bills. I feel like the Bills, like we've talked for years, that Josh Allen's this quarterback, and Josh Allen he has to make a mark. Like, he's one of the ones quarterbacks that has gotten paid that really hadn't made his mark in the playoffs. So I feel like there's a lot of pressure on him, because I really believe if he don't make a mark this week, they might start blowing some stuff up. You know what I mean? And then I'm gonna say the Ravens. I don't know about blowing something up, but I think it will be somewhat of a disappointment, question marks, if they don't. He got his running back. I mean, the defense is starting to come along. It wasn't as strong in the beginning of the season, but now they're getting there. I'm just, it's just that time. I think he has the most pressure on him this weekend. And then also the Ravens know how to beat him. I mean, the Steelers know how to beat the Ravens.
Yeah. I think mine's gonna be the teams from the great state of Pennsylvania. I'm gonna start with the Eagles first. I think the Eagles, especially when you have an opponent like the Green Bay Packers, and for them to potentially lose in this one, especially considering the fact last year losing in the wild card against Tampa Bay last year, and they were last year a little bit different going into this year. They started off, I think it was like 10-1, then they ended up losing like 5 of their last 6. They kind of stumbled upon in the playoffs, and now can they kind of get back together? Because you really sit down and you think about it. Obviously, that loss to Washington on the 22nd. Obviously, they followed up with a win against Dallas and then the Giants, and then obviously now with Jalen Hurts been out for the last couple of weeks, I think he now has clear concussion protocol, so he'll be able to play on Sunday. as we air here on Wednesday. I think if they're another team, if they, especially considering the fact, I think they were 14-3. My memory serves correct. I think they're 14-3. And if they lose, especially in at home to a Packers team, it's really gonna be interesting. This team was already kind of been on shaky ground, but their talent kind of has helped them in a sense. And then the Steelers. I definitely think this is a one where, it's crunch time. They have to win this game. My personal opinion, the team that really must win has got to be the Steelers. The team that's been in the playoffs, their last 4 playoff appearances, they haven't even won a game. With 3 straight, well, not 3 straight, but they've been to the wild card 3 straight times. Not in consecutive years, but last 3 times they've been in the wild card round, they have lost. So last time they won a playoff game, was in January 2017 when they beat the Chiefs on, I think, the birth of that Sunday night playoff game. Because that's funny. That was the first time we ever had a Sunday night playoff game, I think, in my memory, from what I recall. So, and yeah, it's got to get done. I think it's one thing too where I wouldn't say it's like a hot seat thing, but it's gonna be something where it's like, people are gonna look at, Mike Tomlin can get you to, win more than, you can be over 500 every year, but then what does that mean when you don't, you lose in the first round of playoffs? So I think it's a lot of pressure on them, especially considering the fact now you got, especially now when you have a guy like a Russell Wilson, somebody that I think in a personal opinion kind of, now they have the quarterback. Especially considering the fact, you kind of let it slide because, you had Mason Rudolph or Kenny Pickett, in this post Ben Roethlisberger era. So now you got the quarterback, I think. So I definitely think the pressure out of all the 2 teams is going to be the 2 teams from Philadelphia, from Pennsylvania, pardon me.
Yeah, come on, Russ, man. I was at Tuckahoe representing today.
Man. Baby. The two-time Richmond Times-Dispatch Player of the Year. It's only 2 men have done that. Yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah, man. It's only 2 guys that have done it. Russell Wilson from Collegiate, and then Christian Martin from Highland Springs. So hey, only 2 in that regard. But yeah.
I went to Tuckahoe Moose Lodge today.
Oh, nice.
Moose Lodge today. Yeah.
Nice.
I was like, damn, this is Tuckahoe, ain't it? I'm sorry, my bad.
Man. Yeah, man. It's something else, ain't it?
Right.
Very, very interesting area of town. But hey,
All right.
But hey, shout out to Russ.
It's like,
so we got
it's like, I'm sorry. It makes so much sense that he's with Sierra because I was like, the area looks nice, but hood at the same time. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
it's a nice area, though. Yeah, it is nice.
Right. Yeah. But yeah, I'm with you.
Yeah, Tuckahoe's nice. Yep. So we got to do our picks for Wildcard Weekend and college football playoffs. We got the Chargers versus the Texans that we talked about earlier. The one that we that's like the Texans always lead off. Who you got in this matchup?
I got the Texans.
All right. Give me Justin Herbert and I can't even say the Los Angeles, but I'm gonna do the San Diego Superchargers. Give me the San Diego Superchargers. Shout out to Coach Harbaugh and them boys down in LA. We got the Steelers versus the Ravens. Who you got? Well, we already know who you got.
Thank you. Steelers. Let's go.
You know what? I'm gonna give it a nod to my Beltway brethren. I'm gonna give it to the Ravens. Hey, it is what it is. I got a strange feeling in that game, so I'm gonna go with my gut. I'm gonna go with the Ravens. Then we got this, and actually that's the Amazon Prime matchup, which I'm like, Amazon did a good job with picking a game that's gonna be good enough. Because I was scared, not scared, but I was leery that they were going to get the Chargers versus the Texans matchup, but they got a good one. They got a good matchup
Right.
on Amazon. Probably be the best game on
Right.
Amazon Prime that they ever had.
Right.
Except for the Falcons and the Buccaneers game earlier this year. But anyway, then we got the Sunday triple header started off with the Bills versus the Broncos. Who you got in this matchup?
I'm going Broncos. I put Bills, but nope, I'm going Broncos.
Sorry, Jordan, you're my guy, and congratulations on your marriage, Jordan. But I gotta crash the party, brother. I'm gonna get the Bills. But yeah, don't take it personal, man. It's all good. Packers versus the Eagles. What you got in this matchup?
I'm going Packers.
Give me give me the Eagles in this matchup. All right, then in the nightcap, we got the Commanders versus the Buccaneers.
I'm going Commanders.
All right. Give me the Commanders as well. Pack your bags. We're going to Detroit next week to get even hotter. So give me the Commanders. And trust me, we'll bring out mouthpieces because we definitely be biting kneecaps in Detroit next week. So we got the Vikings and the Rams to round out Wildcard Weekend.
I'm going with the Vikings.
Okay. Give me the Rams because because it makes all the more sense because Dan Campbell and KLC, aka Kevin O'Connell, said, "No, we'll see each other in 2 weeks." Dan Campbell, you seen the Commanders in 2 weeks, buddy. So yeah, like KLC gonna be watching us, so it's all good. So we got a pair of national semifinal beauties. We got tomorrow night's game. Well, we'll start off and we'll do it in order I did it. So Friday night matchup, we got Texas versus Ohio State in Jerry's world. Who you got?
I'm going Ohio State.
Yeah, I think Ohio State's gonna win this one as well. Then we got Penn State versus Notre Dame. Who you got? That's tomorrow night's matchup.
Penn State.
Okay. Give me the Fighting Irish of Notre Dame. So we're gonna have Marcus Freeman versus Ryan Day. Oh my gosh, that would be so interesting if Notre Dame. If I gotta pull that clip of when Lou Holtz was talking about Ryan Day and how his team is soft. And they played Notre Dame. I think it was last year or 2 years ago. And he was like, "How about that?" Lou Holtz, he went off on Lou Holtz. It was so funny, and Lou Holtz was like, "Oh my god!" If I ever find it, and they play in the Natty next week, well not next week, but they play on the 20th. I definitely got to pull that clip back, man, because that was hilarious. Because Lou Holtz was clowning Ohio State, but then this man Ryan Day had the last laugh, and it was so hilarious. It is perfect because he getting the last laugh now because everybody wanted him fired. I'm like, if he can get to the Natty, man, and shut everybody up, and even Unc was about to get the fighting. How you about to fight Herbie over this? Like, how you gonna fight Herbie? You gonna mess around and be on a 42-page lawsuit one day. Don't be messing with Herbie. So we'll talk about that. But anyway, so all right, yeah, mess with Herbie all you want. He the golden goose. And ESPN, you messing around with him, and that's right. We're gonna have Big Al and Herbie for y'all game. That's gonna be sick. Oh, that's gonna be dope on Amazon.
Big Al and Herbie. Oh yeah.
Herbie. Yeah, on Sunday night, on Saturday night. Yeah, that's gonna be fun. That's gonna be fun. So we'll round out tonight's Couch Coach Live with our game ball. Let's do the game ball first. What gets this week's game ball?
And I'm freestyling, so I'm hoping I ain't mess it up. But I want to give it to Evans, the wide receiver for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. He tied Jerry Rice's record with 11 straight 1,000-yard seasons. So he gets my game ball. Hope I said it right. I was sitting here thinking, I was
Yeah.
like, yeah, that's right. You know what I mean? I mean, kudos to him. That's one of them loyal players that stayed with the same franchise. You don't see that much.
Man, I'm telling you, last Sunday at that 4 o'clock, like that 4 o'clock window, pure chaos. That was going on. Our Commanders Cowboy game was on, and then also the Packers and the Bears. All that all happened at once, and it was so freaking crazy. We had a game winner with like 3 seconds left to go. The Bears kicker kicked the field goal as time expired to beat the Packers, and then him getting that with 8 yards on that carry on that reception, and they made sure that he got it. And that was another game that we had to watch because Atlanta and Carolina was going to overtime. So if Atlanta was going to win, Tampa Bay would have been out.
Right.
So I'm telling you, man, it was. If you were watching Fox around from 4:05 to about like 4:10, I mean, you really got like 3 lifetimes worth of just craziness. It was crazy. Right. That little 10-minute window was bizarre. And it was weird because you kept on watching the scoreboard because at that time we were like, okay, because I think Green Bay was leading. I think they was leading, and then the Bears ended up kicking the field goal. Like, okay, good, because now we're staying in the 6th. Because it was to a point where if we would have lost and Green Bay would have won, we'd have been the 7th seed. So we would be going to Philly.
Right.
So it's I mean, all kind of stuff goes through your mind. But I gotta give my game ball this week to Trevion Henderson in our backyard from Ohio State, the running back by way of Hopewell High School. 8 rushes, 94 yards, 2 touchdowns, including a 66-yard touchdown to the house that essentially put Ohio State up 31-0 against Oregon. And probably one of arguably the most picturesque, beautiful places on earth. That is the Rose Bowl in Pasadena, California, overlooking the San Gabriel Mountains. I'm telling you, that's one thing I love about New Year's Day is the Rose Bowl, and I gotta go to Pasadena one day in this lifetime.
What's the mountain's name,
man?
What's the mountain's name again? It's how you say
San Gabriel Mountains. Yeah, yeah, man. I'm telling you, dude, it's beautiful out there.
Hey,
yeah, you gotta watch it. If you ever watch the Rose Bowl.
To all you couch coaches, y'all probably say, "Why is he laughing?" Because I know him, and he says things and do things. You don't even realize he's being funny. Like, you know what I mean? Oh man, crazy.
Yeah, that mess. That's like a bucket list item. To get to get there, that would be amazing.
Right. I feel you.
Sure.
Just like when I was in Montana and I hiked up that mountain.
Oh, yeah, man. Good old Montana.
Right.
Man. But yeah, man. So, before we head on out, final thoughts. What you social media, anything else you got going? What's
social media? Deshaun Morgan, Facebook, DT Morgan 78, Instagram. Final thoughts is great show as usual. It's been so much stuff between. Between we do shows, there'd be so much weird stuff going on, and some stuff we don't even talk about. But some stuff I think, man, we all need to understand that a lot of stuff that we watch and listen to and blah blah blah, it's not what you think. It's really just entertainment. It's all entertainment, and it's all about who's trending, good or bad. I want everybody to remember that, because some people take stuff a little bit too serious and make it worse than what it is. And some stuff they're talking about, I'm like, I don't even care, because she fine. Anyway, I'm gonna go ahead.
Yeah, man. So before we head on, I definitely got to give a huge shout out to the VCU men's and VCU women's great wins tonight. Definitely, first off, the women's getting a dub in Chicago with a 62-44 win over Loyola Chicago, and then definitely a huge shout out to the men with a 73-61 win over Fordham, and a with no crowd in that game, because obviously with our boiler advisor here in the city of Richmond, no fans were able to attend that game, and something that we posted on our social media as well. So definitely huge shout out to the guys doing their thing without no crowd, none of that, and then also the women take care of business on the road. So pretty much Facebook, Twitter, Instagram under Couch Coach Live, the website CouchCoachLive.com, and we'll catch you guys next week. This has been this week's Couch Coach Live, and we're out.
You're welcome.